7 gives you the chance to now express your opinion and interact with some of the best minds in Detroit sports. This is the 7 Sports Cave.
I'm your host, Justin Rose, on my maiden voyage here.
7 Sports Cave, Tom Lydon in for Brad Galley this week. Happy that you are with us.
This is our 1-year celebration. 2-year anniversary. It's the 4-year anniversary.
At the 10-year anniversary of this show, on Super Bowl Sunday in 2024, here's to doing it live in New Orleans. That's the site of Super Bowl 58.
Wait a second. First and foremost, somebody needed to tell me what I was doing with Fashion Sense in 2015. What was that shirt? That was terrifying. Welcome to the 7 Sports Cave, FamilyDeal.com, 7 Sports Cave these days. I am your host, Justin Rose. It's our 6-year anniversary. We could not be more thrilled to bring you another year of this show, breaking down everything from Detroit to national sports, up and down, in and out, finding all the angles and having your feedback in the show as well. Matt Shook from the Detroit News is here. He's going to be joining me in just minutes here live talking about what we witnessed in Super Bowl 54. Because it was built a pretty big battle between two strengths, right? You had Kansas City's power offense against the 49ers defense that was supposed to be so good. Now, San Francisco, an unbelievable story. 4 wins a year ago, now they're playing in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes and company, of course, the darlings of the NFL as they've made their rise over the past 2 seasons. This game started with teams feeling each other out early on. Patrick Mahomes down 3-0. He just decides to take it in the end zone himself. 7-3. And by the way, check out the graphics. Love the ode to Grand Theft Auto in the Miami lights down there. But Jimmy G and company, they were able to run the ball and play pretty good defense here. But the first touchdown, Kyle Juszczyk, yeah, if you had that, you won a lot of money. 25-1 in Vegas for him getting the first touchdown for the 49ers. They would go up 20-10 in this game. 10-10 game at half, of course. But then it was weird because Patrick Mahomes, he didn't really do anything until the fourth quarter when he needed to. Travis Kelce from a yard out, that cuts the lead just to 3. Then later on, Mahomes, Damian Williams gets through the pylon from 5 yards out. Williams would add another big run as Kansas City was trying to milk the clock and end this game. Gets to the outside and he's gone. That's okay. People who had squares, if you had 1 and a 0, you're happy. Kansas City Chiefs, they won Super Bowl 54, 31-20 the final. Andy Reid gets his first world championship trophy.
We had to jump in it, like you said, and defense got some big stops for us, and we found a way to win it in the end. I mean, Coach Reid told me out there, both of them, to keep firing, keep believing in your eyes, keep throwing it. And he gives me the confidence to go out there no matter what I do, and we worked out well in the end.
It was that feeling we felt multiple times in this season, and I mean, Pat's just an unbelievable dude, man. Such a leader on and off the field. He got us going. We never hesitated. We just kept working, kept our heads down, man, and the rest is history.
It was great, man.
Worth the wait.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Love this guy right here, man.
Yes, sir.
And all those guys that came before, love you too, man. This is what it's all about. What a great team, great coaches. Appreciate every bit of it.
And how about that? Matt Shook from the Detroit News joins me now. This guy does everything for them over there. You're all over the place, but more recently this year I've been seeing him a lot more down in Allen Park, writing some different features and whatnot on the Lions. Was this Super Bowl everything you thought it would be?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who grew up rooting for the Lions and now covering the Lions, obviously you just have no rooting interest in the Super Bowl. We get this time of year off, which is nice. But yeah, you just kind of root for a good game, right? That's what you're looking for, and we got it. I mean, you had the San Francisco defense playing well early, and of course Kansas City getting down again, but then they come back, 3 touchdowns at the end, get the win. Andy Reid, you got to feel good for him. So yeah, everything you wanted.
I thought defense was going to win this game before I tweeted out that I thought that San Francisco would win the game 35-31. It looked like it was kind of going to be that way, but what is it about Kansas City? I mean, we all know that they have this electrifying offense, right? That's not like something that just happened tonight for the first time. But why aren't they always just like that every single time they're with the ball? Is it just, I just wonder what's the key ingredient for them to be able to come back as they've done, 3 straight weeks now?
Yeah, 3 straight weeks in the playoffs. So I wonder if there's like subconsciously, if you're like, we've got this great offense, we know we can do this, and maybe you just kind of relax into games or something like that. I don't know if there's something on the subconscious there, but was driving over and listening to the radio interviews on the field after the game. Chris Jones was talking about, hey, we got Pat Mahomes, so we're going to be just fine. And this guy has proven it year in or 2 years,
right,
week week in and week out now. And even in the playoffs, he's showing he's a big-time guy, making it happen. And he's the guy right now. He's on top of the mountain right now.
The calmness that Mahomes showed throughout the entire game, really, because if you look at the second and the third quarter, when, quite frankly, he was not playing well, he was one of the reasons why he was missing some passes, not doing his normal scrambles and getting free. But then he really turned it on. He started to find the holes and make the right passes, let things develop for him naturally, and he seemed to be able to move the ball down the field. The calmness and the poise that a very young player has shown is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and I think that being in these playoff situations for a couple of weeks now, the Houston comeback, unbelievable, 24-0. Then you're still up at halftime at that. He shows the arm talent every week, and we know here in Detroit that he was drafted by the Tigers. So obviously the arm strength is there. His dad's a former major league player as well. Just an unbelievable player. I mean, where he, so much remains to be seen about where his career will take him. But as far as the start of a legacy and the start of a career, he's right up there with anyone else at the beginning.
Yeah, I had to put that play in there because we've seen that one before in Detroit,
absolutely.
haven't we? This flag should have been picked up, right?
Yeah, of course. Dallas Cowboys.
That's what he's saying too. What'd I do?
Yeah.
Pick up the flag. Anyways, back to Mahomes. I mean, and Kelsey being a part of it. It just looked like for so much of this game, the 49ers had him figured out, kept everything in front of them. And then once that one time he got loose, I think it was Sammy Watkins got behind the play. That was pretty much the end of the story.
Yeah, it was like San Francisco was like a couple more good plays from putting this one away, up a couple of possessions. Then they go, like you said, Watkins, they got Tyreek Hill deep as well. And the tide just kind of turned, and from then you knew, and it's almost like they left too much time for Jimmy Garoppolo with 2+ minutes there. But the defense stepped up and got it done. And credit to that defense. They've been better in the second half of the year and, of course, good enough in the playoffs. So a total, a team effort, obviously helped by the guy, like I said, on the top of the NFL mountain right now, and a coach that's been really close to there for many years. And for him to get over the hump, you got to have good feelings for Andy Reid.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of great stories in Kansas City. Of course, Eric Fisher, the local guy, he gets it done, When you look, how will the Super Bowl be remembered? Is this going to be one where, I only ask that in a sense because I feel like this is just the starting point for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, we were watching it with a bunch of friends of mine and said, even if they don't win this game, even if San Francisco pull this off, Mahomes is going to get it done. Been 50 years for the Kansas City Chiefs to get it done. You got to believe that this is a team now that New England might be showing that they might be headed downhill. Obviously, don't want to doubt them too much, but I think that this could be the Mahomes coming out party. Obviously, we know that Lamar Jackson's got the talent to take his team back. So I think that at the end of the day, Mahomes and Andy Reid, maybe the culmination of a career by Andy Reid, and then maybe the beginning of an amazing career for Patrick Mahomes.
Tua Tagovailoa and the Detroit Lions went from 3 wins this year to the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It is funny because who would have thought, right?
Yep.
Not us. San Francisco going to the Super Bowl after 4 wins. Let's try to look at the Lions. Obviously, they're showed a lot of the same things that San Francisco did in winning 4 games. Could the Lions potentially, depending on how their offseason goes, of course, we have a million years to talk about it, but is this a unique story to this particular San Francisco team, or is this something that other teams out there can emulate?
Well, the parallels are there. I mean, people have talked about it this week with losing your quarterback and having some injuries and losing a lot of games, partially because of a result of that. And then you get the high draft pick because of a result of that as well. Bosa is obviously a game changer for San Francisco. And you hope at number 3 the Lions can either trade down and get some draft capital and make it happen otherwise as well. But with the Lions, we just don't see the signs right now, obviously. I mean, we're so far away. And in San Francisco, they probably would have been talking similarly before about not seeing much from last season. But, you got to see something before, and we all have decades and decades of evidence that this isn't going to happen right now. And certainly it's possible, but and you always got to have hope, but not looking good so far.
I'm one of those people, man. I still think that if they would have won that game in Green Bay, this season maybe looks a little bit different. And of course, Stafford's injury would have been one thing.
For sure.
They're the only team that didn't let Patrick Mahomes throw a touchdown pass against them the entire season.
That place was rocking for that game.
The place was crazy, and they could have won that game or a play or 2 away.
Fourth and long.
I'm with you. I grew up in the city. I understand the history of the Lions organization, but I just can't sit here and say that amongst other people in the media that they have no shot of doing the tournament.
Sure.
I just think they can do it.
And curses, and I know the Lions aren't necessarily a curse, or maybe they're a curse, but the long droughts, we've seen them with the Cubs, we've seen them with the Red Sox, these teams that handle these droughts, something crazy always happens, right? Whether it's the coming back from the Yankees 3-0, everything that happened with the Cubs, the rain delay, going to the 9th inning, and all of that in Game 7. So, if you're a Lions fan, you're just rooting for the weird, and you get the weird week in and week out most of these past several decades, but it always kind of ends up with the stomach punch at the end. So it's the weird and then the bad. Now we just got the weird and the good somehow. We got to figure that out.
We're going to have plenty of time to break down what they should do when they do figure out what they want to do in the draft, free agency to follow, and all the other things that potentially could come into play. All right, Matt's going to rejoin us here. He did a really cool documentary on Emani Bates, the sophomore sensation basketball player at Ypsilanti Lincoln. Him and his director, they'll be here talking about that coming up here next, but we're going to dive into some of the other news of the day after this quick break. Stay with us.
Dylan Larkin, the Wings' first-round draft pick out of Waterford, is on the couch with us. Going through that draft process, I'm sure it was a whirlwind. We're sitting here asking, right before we go to break, who the coolest person was to meet. Throughout that process, when did you get the most starstruck?
Like I said, at the Combine when I met with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Steve Yzerman was in there. I was pretty nervous for that interview, but he's a really nice guy, so it worked out.
Dylan Larkin, one of the many, many current and former athletes we've had on the show during our 6-year run as we celebrate tonight that achievement. The Pistons, they've had some guys in here too, Andre Drummond, but like the rest of the professional sports world, earlier today they had to get their games out of the way so that they could go and enjoy the Super Bowl. The Pistons actually in Memphis tonight, and some of them made a trip to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, near dear to my heart, to watch the game with some of the patients there. We'll have more on that story this week. But today they did have a game. Denver Nuggets, they were in town, and they came to play early on in this one. Nikola Jokic had a big day, 2 of his game-high 39 points. Denver early on, they were running away with this game, but this is the NBA. We all know how this goes. Second quarter, the Pistons flipped the script. Svi Mihajlovic, he continues to play very well, ties the game. Pistons would lead it by 3 at the break. Final seconds of the game, Reggie Jackson tries to get the game winner. Doesn't go, so we're headed to overtime. In the overtime session, Pistons pretty dominant in that one. Big shots by Reggie Jackson, but the dunk here from Thon Maker, that is the one we call a highlight reel. Pistons get the win on Hooper's birthday. Happy birthday, big guy. 128-123.
I didn't know if we were going to make it through the first half. We ran out of players, but again, it's a testament of guys being ready, young guys. I thought the energy today, I said before the game, was going to be an energy game, and then we came out as flat as a pancake. But the second group came in and played.
Red Wings head coach Jeff Blashill announced today that Filip Zadina will miss the next 2 to 3 weeks with a lower body injury. Suffered that Friday against the Rangers. Detroit has lost 8 of their last 8 games. That's all of the games. Final round of the Waste Management Open in Phoenix today. Tony Finau, he came into the day with a 1-shot lead, but on the 18th hole, Webb Simpson makes his birdie putt. Finau, though, he had an opportunity to make his birdie putt. It was a little bit shorter. He would have won the match if he would have made this putt. Ooh, here comes the putter throw. Nope, kept his cool. We head to a sudden death playoff. In the playoff, Simpson hits a great shot and has a great look for birdie. Notice where this shot lands. Basically where he just made that birdie putt to force the playoff. These guys are so good. Finau, he had to give a great shot. He'd have a chance to make his birdie pretty much from where he missed his birdie from. He did not learn from his mistake, and he misses it. So Webb Simpson with a chance to win it. Bingo, he does it. Webb Simpson shoots a final round 69, wins the Waste Management Open in a playoff. Well, if you were on social media throughout the Super Bowl tonight, you no doubt saw plenty of contests that were ongoing as the game progressed. Companies giving away cash and prizes, and one of the biggest ones, nationwide, right here in downtown Detroit. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans ran the nation's largest Super Bowl Squares contest, where people from all over the country picked a square, and every single time the score changed, there was a winner. So a field goal, touchdown, extra point. Someone who had the numbers won $50,000. Tonight, from their command center in downtown Detroit, they gave away $1.75 million. 3 of the winners were from Michigan. How about that? Quicken Loans excited to be part of the Super Bowl's festivities.
It's an opportunity for us to partner with the NFL during the Super Bowl, the NFL draft, and during the month of November for their Salute to Service, as well as Thanksgiving Day. It's truly a year-round partnership.
And for like the 30th year in a row, I didn't win any of my Super Bowl squares at all. Once again, it's just a waste of money, at least for me, anyways. All right, coming up next, we got to talk about Emani Bates and the new documentary film out about the nation's #1 sophomore in basketball. We'll talk with a couple of the creators of that next here on the 7 Sportscape. Stay with us. Cassius Winston. Cassius, what's up, man? How you doing? How are things?
Everything's good.
You know what? You keep on racking up all sorts of these awards. This is the Gatorade Player of the Year award. Hit it. Oh! There it is! Whoa! Trophy down! Oh! Trophy down! Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, even though we slowed that down for you, you notice how Cassius bumped it off. I tried to save it.
I'm just so glad I've never won anything, so you can't break it when I bring it here. Not that it was all your fault, but yeah.
What a memory here as the All-American, soon to be the potential Naismith Player of the Year. That was when he was just still in high school. U of D Jesuit comes in here, and of course I break his Gatorade Player of the Year trophy. His mom still holds it against me.
Oh, well, he's got to win some more hardware now.
That's what I've been trying to tell him. All right, anyways, Matt is back here. So is Greg DeLiso, who is obviously a big part of this film that I was talking about. He's a filmmaker and the director now. Ipsy's Emani is the name of the documentary. Where can people find it first and foremost? And then let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's free on Vimeo. Best way to find it is follow me on Twitter at Matt_Shook, and it's SCHOCH, another underscore after that. The pinned tweet on there, so find it right there. 20 minutes long, carve it out, put it on the big TV. Don't watch it on the laptop, don't watch it on the phone. Put it on the big TV, and you can see Greg's work and the work we put into it, and we're real proud of it.
I saw it because the news put out an article saying, hey, you know, this documentary goes, let's show a little bit of the beginning of this clip as we begin to talk about it a little bit. I really do like, Greg, how you visualized this and kind of brought Ypsilanti and like this story of this kind of like, you know, this isn't Chicago, this isn't New York, this isn't LA, this is Ypsilanti, where it's not necessarily this hotbed of all-American players, and Emani Bates is still there carving out this really cool story of a young kid who wants to do it for his hometown, doesn't want to do the AAU circuit during his time, and the way you brought this to life. Talk about your vision for this.
Thanks. Yeah, we were able to do some great aerial drone photography of Ypsilanti, and you know, get some kind of street footage of Ypsilanti to give you that kind of flavor of Ypsi. And certainly, yeah, it was interesting to us to to look at this big shot of Ypsilanti and see that there's a basketball phenom from here. It's kind of interesting. Like, this isn't Indiana, this isn't Brooklyn schoolyards or anything. It's kind of this weird area of Michigan where there's a basketball superstar. So that juxtaposition was really interesting to us. You know, having this prodigy in our backyard was really cool.
I think it was really cool too because his profile is only getting bigger. Obviously, you guys started that with him on the cover of Sports Illustrated basically saying, hey, you guys know who LeBron is? You remember who Kobe was? You got the next kind of guy who's going to be that highly regarded coming out of high school to get the access. I mean, how difficult was that to do, Matt?
Yeah, it was like a year ago, almost to the day, that Greg and I met. We started working on a project, and I said, hey, and we had both moved back to Michigan after being away for a long time. And I was like, I know about this guy. We've been reading about this guy. You did a story about him early on as well. That, you know, if we could find this guy and get in touch with him and his dad, EJ Bates, who was great for us as well, and has really helped the project move along in time too. And I don't know if we decided today that we're going to just do it from scratch right now. I mean, it's too big. Sports Illustrated's involved. Everyone wants a piece of this guy. Everyone wants to sit down with him. And so we were kind of right at the right time. I mean, like I said, there were a lot of people at games, but it wasn't thousands and thousands and thousands of people at games. I was able to talk to his grandfather at the first game. And when they won the state title, not to give away the ending, but it's pretty well known, obviously, that they were wanting to talk about it because it was a triumph for the city of Ypsilanti, for Ypsilanti Lincoln as well. And that's what EJ said kind of from the beginning, is that it would be great if this was kind of a gift to the city, and we took that seriously and wanted to convey that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sports Illustrated story broke right as we were finishing. And so we were able to kind of tag it in the beginning of the piece. But really what we've seen since that piece came out as him being on the cover of SI, he's blown up nationally. And so like Matt said, I mean, a year ago when we went to our first games to watch him play, it was a packed house. You know, there were a few hundred people at a high school game, which is interesting, but we were just at Eastern Michigan to watch a game, and there were probably, 5,000-10,000 people there.
Wow.
I mean, it looked like they were almost not prepared for as many people as were going to show up. So, you know, his star is rising, and deservedly so, and we kind of got lucky to get kind of in on the ground floor of his freshman year when he was really still kind of finding his own, you know, still that transition between being kind of a junior high, you know, with braces and stuff, and then kind of going on into adulthood. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see him on Friday playing, and he just looks so much older. He just turned 16, and he just looks so much more mature and older and has more confidence on the court now. So the story just kind of keeps evolving. But yeah, we were really lucky to get the access that we got.
The target's on his back now. I mean,
Right.
they're following him hard. The fans want to taunt him and stuff like that. So he's already dealing with the road crowds and stuff that he's going to have to deal with at the next level, or maybe the next level, or, you know, however it goes. So it's exciting, and it should be fun for people in Detroit area and Ypsilanti in particular to watch this evolve.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't seen him play yet, take a look at the schedule. Try to get to one of those games. It is fun to see him. His rise last year throughout the state playoffs, hitting those buzzer beaters to keep his team in it.
Yep.
Continued to be cool. Make sure you check out this documentary, though. That's the #1 thing we want you to be doing. So, but thanks, guys, for coming in on Super Bowl Sunday.
Thanks so much for
Appreciate
having
that.
us on.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years, baby. We'll talk about that in our final thoughts here coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to the FamilyDeal.com 7 Sportscape. Quick shout out to our friends over at Green Lantern Pizza. They're opening a new location starting tomorrow. It's on Main Street in Berkeley, almost by Greenfield Road. Make sure you stop in and check out because, of course, they are the king of pepperoni. Delicious stuff for our entire staff here at Channel 7 tonight. Well, as I mentioned, this is our 6-year anniversary of the 7 Sportscape. It was launched on Super Bowl Sunday. As you saw at the beginning of the show, young Brad Galley launched this show, and then I came home to take it over. And ever since, I'll tell you what, I've done a lot of cool things while working in this business. Met a lot of cool people, covered a lot of great stories, but nothing gives me the joy and the rush of doing this show for you guys each and every Sunday night. I thank you guys for your patronage, your following along, and hopefully we'll see you in another 6 years. Have a good week. Be safe.